Hello WPCS families, this is Mrs. Rudy. Our first YouTube lesson today will be how to write a friendly letter. The steps of the lesson will be: read aloud A Serious Case of Stressitis, a short story by Lissa Rovetch. 5 steps of friendly letter writing, the directions, the details, explanation of all parts, new or important vocabulary, 5 steps of friendly letter writing sample with the date, the greeting, the body, the closing, and the signature. Practice sending a friend in your class a letter by email or Google Classroom using the format we learned today. You can also send one to me at klrudy@widener.edu and I will write you back. That's the steps for our lesson today. I'm going to start off by reading to you the book story, A Serious Case of Stressitis.
It's me, Mrs. Rudy. We're going to read this story. Ask Arizona. Dear Arizona, every time I take a test, I feel sick to my stomach, and my heart starts beating about 1,000,000 times a minute. Have you ever heard of this? Do you think it's life-threatening? Worried in Wyoming. A serious case of stressitis. Dear worried. The bad news is you have serious case of stressitis. The good news is it's not going to kill you. Back in the good old days, I barely worried about tests at all. It was only after my beloved cat Cal hurt his paw that I started to stress out. It all began after school one day. I'm starving, I told my mom. Do we have anything to eat? There's no time for snacking, she said. Something's wrong with Cal's paw. Oh, my poor baby, I said. What happened? I'm not sure, Mom said, grabbing her coat and keys. Hopefully the vet will know. Our appointment is in 15 minutes. The veterinarian's name was Dr. Chavez, and she turned out to be the coolest person I ever met. She was so sweet to Cal, and when she found out how much I love animals, she told me all about her job. I think you'd make a wonderful animal doctor, she said. Get good grades so that when you're older, you'll be accepted into veterinarian school. It turned out that Cal's paw probably was just a sneaky little splinter. I wouldn't tell you that Cal was happy when Dr. Chavez took it out. He most definitely was not. But the next day, he was as good as new. After that, I knew beyond a doubt that I wanted to become a veterinarian. And that's where the stressitis came in. If I wanted to become a vet, I'd have to go to college. If I wanted to go to college, I'd have to get good grades. If I wanted to get good grades, I'd have to ace my test. But what if I failed my test? My whole entire dream would be squashed. All of a sudden, getting perfect test scores became all I cared about. I'd study for hours the night before a test, but then I'd get so nervous that I'd forget everything I learned. I felt sick too, hot and sweaty, like I had really bad fever or something, and my stomach would hurt. The more I wanted to relax, the more stressed out I got. I was never going to become a vet at that rate. Finally, when I couldn't think of anything else to do, I wrote a letter. Dear Dr. Chavez, I have a terrible problem. I want to become a veterinarian like you, but I have become the worst test taker on the planet. I'm afraid that I might not get into college, which means I'll have to give up my new dream of helping animals. I know you're an animal doctor and not a people doctor, but do you have any suggestions for how I could stop feeling so sick every time I take a test? Sincerely, Arizona. Believe it or not, a letter came back in the mail just a few days later. Dear Arizona, thank you for the letter. I think it's wonderful that you want to help animals. You are already doing that by taking such good care of Cal. You have plenty of time to study hard and do your best. Sometimes when I get nervous, I close my eyes and I take deep breaths. Try it and let me know if it helps. Best wishes, Dr. Chavez. P.S. Say hello to Cal for me. I hope his paw is feeling better. I thought it was so cool that Dr. Chavez actually wrote back to me, and her breathing trick worked. In fact, I added some other stuff of my own. Here is my relaxation routine. Close my eyes. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Try to think of something to make me happy and calm, like sitting in my rocking chair with Cal on my lap. Tell myself that everything will be all right, even if I don't completely believe it at the time. This might sound like a lot, but the whole thing only takes a minute or two. And when I open my eyes, I feel much more relaxed every single time. I wish I could say that my test-taking stress is now gone forever, but it has definitely gotten a lot better. So, dear worried, try my handy-dandy relaxing trick and see what you think. Ciao for now, Arizona. This is our story about a serious case of stress-itis. It also has letter writing inside of it. So we're going to discuss letter writing now and how we can letter write. I'm going to take you to the next page, which is going to give us our directions for letter writing. It's also going to include some new vocabulary. Okay, so how to write a friendly letter. The directions start out by using the date, okay? The date, start in the upper right-hand corner. The upper right-hand corner is right here, okay? We write the date in the upper right-hand corner, or we type it if we're going to be typing like Miss Rudy did. Then you're going to write the greeting. The greeting, you move to this side, your left-hand side, and start right here by this margin, and you write your greeting, just like this number 2 starts right there. So the date goes over here, just like this date is up here, okay? We're going to do date over here, greeting here. We move down to the left-hand side, which is right here of your paper, write or type your greeting, and the greeting is usually starts with dear, followed by the person's name you are writing to with a comma, okay? So we have to make sure we have the greeting, which is dear WPCS families for me, that's how I would write it, with a comma. The body is the next part of the directions. In the body, now you're ready to write the body of your letter. The body means the letter is where you write the message the person will receive from you. This is like having a conversation in writing. Tell something to your friend about you, then ask them a question about them, which sparks a conversation in writing. You have to remember a couple important points in this. You have to remember to capitalize the first letter of every sentence and use proper punctuation marks, the period, the exclamation point for something that's exciting, and a question if you have a question that you'd like to ask. To close the sentence, make sure that you use those punctuation marks. Also, at the start of each paragraph, you must indent. Indent is when you move 5 spaces from the left corner. So this is your left corner. This is actually an indentation. Okay, when you bump in, this is where your letter should be when you're writing. And then when you start a paragraph, you indent.
Indent means you move over 5 spaces. 5 spaces, you can use something on your keyboard that looks like this, which is the tab button. Okay, you can use this here to move 5 spaces automatically, or you can use your space bar 5 times. You hit that 5 times, that big bar on your space bar. Or if you are writing with your pencil, you can use 2 fingers, depending on your size of your fingers, to move in. Miss Rudy would use 1 probably, but kids' fingers can be 2. Okay, and put them there so that you know that you're keeping that space. Our closing. The closing is the bottom right-hand corner. So this is the bottom right-hand corner. It's going to be underneath where the date is. You're going to put your closing. And that might say sincerely for someone general that you just don't really know very well, but you just want to be, very courteous to. Your friend you could write for someone close to you, or you could write love for your family. That's your closing. Sorry. Your closing. Your closing is one of anything that you want to close with that is a way of being courteous to someone when you're finished. Your signature under the closing, write or type your name. Okay, I'm going to show you a sample of a letter. Sample letter Miss Rudy wrote to you guys. See how your date is up here in this corner? The greeting, dear WPCS students, the body of my letter, and then you have the closing and your signature. Okay, so my letter reads, dear WPCS families, or students, dear WPCS students, hello, I miss you all so much. Our story, A Serious Case of Stressitis, definitely touches on some of what we are all experiencing right now with social distancing. Our lives have changed from busy in school, sports, dance, social events, and work to isolation. Boys and girls, I'd love for you to think about some positive things that social distancing has allowed you to learn or given you the opportunity to do. Prior to social distancing, everyone in my family worked different shifts, so we would pass each other. One of the nice things that has happened for me during this time is more meals as a family. I am also getting to see my teenage boys connect, learn to compromise, and work things out together. The other thing the story discussed was how to relax ourselves during stressful times. In the story, Arizona talks about positive self-talk, taking deep breaths, and trying to think of something that makes you happy to relieve stress. These are all great suggestions. Well, WBCS students, I hope you enjoyed your lesson. I would love to hear how you are spending your time. Stay safe and healthy, and I hope to see you soon. That's your body of your finishing your body. If you notice, your indentations are here. Each paragraph, the beginning paragraph, the second paragraph, the third paragraph, and the fourth paragraph. And then I close by saying, love your teacher, my signature, Miss Rudy. That's your sample of being able to write a letter, the steps of the letter. Then we can move down to, here's how you can contact me, boys and girls, parents, WPCS families, anybody who needs to contact me. Obviously, Karen Rudy. My email address is klrudy@widener.edu. I'll check my emails during the day between 9 and 3. If you have questions or concerns, send me an email. If you need to speak directly to me, leave your number in the email and I will call you within 24 hours. Please specify a time for me if you need to call if you cannot be if it cannot be during normal school hours, because you're a mandatory worker, I understand, and I will be happy to accommodate that. WPCS family, please stay safe and healthy during this difficult time. Hope to see you all soon. Boys and girls, it's been great working with you today, and I'm looking forward to working with you going forward while we're in this situation and having to deal with being virtually taught. So if there's anything anyone needs from me, please feel free to reach out at my email, and I'd love to see some letters from all of you.
I really hope that I do. So I will be able to write back to you. Have a great day.